Hey there everybody, Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Album War. Today we've got two real favorites of mine. Alright, these are two bands. They're both American bands. They are probably one of my favorite, or my two favorites, of those kind of US bands that came out in the 70s that dabbled in a bunch of prog rock, but were also a really good hard rock band. Both of these bands had a lot of commercial success with top-selling albums and some singles and what have you, and we're probably both kind of lumped into that corporate rock thing as the 70s kind of wore on and the 80s begun. But man, both of these bands had a string of really strong albums, really classy albums that I still listen to immensely to this day. So we're going to we didn't get the bell going today. That's all right. We'll do it next time. So let's look at our two combatants today, and just a look before we get started here. All right. So I want everybody to remember this, okay, when you watch one of these shows or when you go on our Facebook page and you vote on the polls, because basically that's what we do every day. We do a poll with the two albums, and then I come on and do a show. This is meant to be fun. This is not meant to pick two stylistically very similar albums, okay, by two bands that are almost identical. There are no bands that are identical. There are no albums that are identical. Think of it like a boxing match, all right? You get two welterweights in the ring together. Sure, they might be both 146, 147 pounds, right? But one might be 6'1", the other might be 5'8". One might be 5'8", 5'10". One might be African American, one might be white, one might be Japanese, one might be Latino from Mexico, right? They're all different, okay? So what I'm doing here, this is just an excuse to pull two classic albums by two classic bands. Maybe they were released in the same time period, okay, or maybe not. Maybe both bands might be in a similar genre, right, okay? I mean, yesterday's poll, we had Rush and AC/DC, right? Stylistically, not very similar, but both considered upper echelon heavy music bands, even though one's more proggy, one's more kind of metallic or bluesy type of thing. But, there you had two albums that were some of the biggest heavy rock albums released at the beginning of the 80s. That's why we put them together and compared them, all right? This is, some of you are just taking, we have the majority of you who love these shows and love these polls, and then like maybe a handful that just can't grip what we're doing here. This is not meant to be the definitive two stylistic exactly the same albums and compare them. That's not what this is. This is just an excuse to grab two classic albums using some of the criteria I did before and talking about them. Talking about why we love them so much or why we don't love them so much, and telling me and you guys as well, just telling everybody which is your favorite of the two and why. All right? There are some of you that are getting all bent out of shape. They're like, oh, it's wrong to put these two against each other. It's like, it's not. All right? A, it's my show. I can do whatever the hell I want. But B, it's just an excuse to talk about two great albums. It doesn't matter whether I say I like one better or the other. This is not the encyclopedia of music here where this is a definitive statement that this album is better than that album. It's not. There's no better or worse here. And, and some of you are going, people are giving their opinions on why they like an album over the other. And then some of you are chiming in and saying, no, you're wrong. There's no way that album is better. There is no better. There is no worse. There is no right or wrong here. We all have our opinions. We all need to respect our opinions, okay? If you feel one album is better than the other, you like it better than the other, say why and that's it. But don't berate someone else because they like one of the other choices. I mean, that's ridiculous, guys. Come on. I like to run a fun environment here on this channel, okay? And for the most part, it is what it is. Okay, and everybody gets along and chimes in with really good information and feedback, and that's the way it should be. But I see some of you who are just not playing along and being nasty and what have you. I don't like that stuff, all right? I try to let you guys do your own thing in the comments, but I've seen some abuse going on, and I've seen it on the Facebook page. It's like if you can't just have fun with this stuff and play along like everybody else, then don't watch these episodes. Then don't vote in the polls. All right, there's people saying it's wrong to do this and your choice is wrong, and how can it's like, come on, guys, please, just tell which album you like better and move on. That's what this is all about. It's just an excuse to talk about some great albums and the songs and why we love them so much, and maybe you go and you play them, right? That's really all this is. So okay, my rant out of the way. So 1976. By the way, both of these albums came out about a year from each other, 76 and 77. Both sold I think worldwide about 5 million copies each, roughly, okay, between US and Canada and Europe and all that kind of stuff. Most of the bulk of the sales of both of these albums were in North America, okay. For some reason, neither of these bands were really huge in Europe, okay, but here in North America did very, very well. Each album also spawned a hit single that was a top 10 hit here in the US on the Billboard charts, all right. So the first one, 1976's Leftoverture by Kansas. Okay. And its competitor today is going to be The Grand Illusion by Styx. Okay. Like I said, really love both of these albums. All right. Really love them. Both of these albums have been like a fabric of my life since they were released. That's how long I've been listening. So, you know, when these albums came out, I was still a huge Kiss fan. Kiss was my #1 band. However, these two bands, and Boston and the Eagles and ELO and Paul McCartney and Wings, were probably like that second level of favorites for me. The Who also. So I really like these bands a lot and love these releases. And, you know, let's be frank. Kansas, from their first album, Song for America, and Masks, and This, and Point of No Return, and Monolith. That's a great run of albums. And Styx also, you know, you got Serpent is Rising, Man of Miracles, Equinox, Crystal Ball, this one, and Pieces of Eight. That's a pretty damn strong run for any band. And you got both of these bands who just fired out some seriously good albums and a lot of great music. So, but when you go like top to bottom, you know, you could arguably say, you know, well, maybe Song for America is a little stronger than this. Some people like Point of No Return a little bit better, but you know, this is definitely a top 3 Kansas if it's not the best. Here, you know, some people go for Pieces of Eight a little bit more. Equinox is really strong. You know, Crystal Ball is a damn strong album. I tend to think both of these are probably top to bottom the strongest album from each band, right? But it's arguable. You may differ. So what do we got here? You got the incredible, epic, legendary tune, Carry On Wayward Son. And I say epic in epic scope, not epic length. Hit single, perennial FM favorite, you know. It's everywhere, right? What else we got? The Wall, a prog rock classic. Okay, What's on My Mind? Good hard rocker on the album. Miracles Out of Nowhere, fantastic tune. Another prog rock classic. Opus Insert, another lovely tune with a lot of prog influence on it. You know, Kansas, all these keyboards and hard rock guitar muscle and the soaring violin. Okay, the two vocalists, the great drumming and bass playing. It's just such tight music. And, you know, for my money, probably the first legitimate prog rock band from the U.S. Okay, you know, that's probably debatable, but notable prog rock band. Okay, where did I leave off here? Questions of My Childhood, another really good kind of melodic, kind of rootsy kind of tune for the band. But just great vocals. What else? Where did I leave off? Cheyenne Anthem. Soaringly good. All right. And then, of course, you've got the Magnum Opus, right? So another prog rock classic from the band. One of my favorite tunes from the band. So, you know, just top to bottom, great stuff. Great stuff. You know, the band really peaking here. Okay. And then we move over to The Grand Illusion. All right. You know, both these albums are pretty different. Okay, these bands don't really sound at all alike, other than they both kind of borrowed some from the classic British prog bands, you know, that preceded them. I think Styx probably had a little more pop sheen to their music, right? But both bands were really good with the catchy melodies and things like that. So you got the title track, The Grand Illusion, a perennial favorite, FM radio classic. It's featured on all the greatest hits. They always play it live. A great tune. It's majestic. It's regal. It's heavy in spots. Then you got the wonderful Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man, Tommy Shaw at his best. I mean, that's just pure pop craftsmanship there with lots of little proggy and folky touches. A wonderful tune. Superstars, majestic anthem, great chorus, great vocals. Then you got the magical Come Sail Away, Dennis DeYoung at his, you know, flamboyant best. The guy also knew how to write a great pop tune, and here it's housed in this kind of anthemic, kind of proggy, hard rock arrangement. Great song. The big hit off this album. Again, you got Come Sail Away and Carry On Wayward Son. The two, favorites of so many people. Then you got Miss America, James Young. Usually, especially, the early albums, he sang quite a bit. But once Tommy Shaw got in the band, usually you would hear at least one JY song per album. It usually was a blistering heavy rocker, as is the case here, with a great guitar riff. Then you got the wonderful Man in the Wilderness, another Tommy Shaw gem. Okay. And then, personally, probably my favorite, if not my favorite, it's one of my top two on this album, Castle Walls. A tremendous prog rock classic. Underrated gem on this album. In fact, a song that the band had never played live until about, maybe 7-8 years ago, when they did the Grand Illusion Pieces of 8 tour, and they actually played this whole album. And I was there, and I was like, holy cow, how great it is to hear this song live. And then the grand finale. A couple people on the Facebook page made a comment that they wish this album was a little bit longer because it is shorter than this album. Probably had enough room to do an extra song, maybe two. Would have been nice, right? But as it is, it's just great. So what do I think? All right, I will tell you, since I decided yesterday that this was going to be the Classic Album War today, I have been dreading coming in front of you guys and picking my favorite here. And here we are, 11 minutes into this episode, and I still don't have a clue. I really don't. That's how much I like these albums, and it's almost impossible for me to choose. So I could take the easy road out and declare a draw, and I might just do that. Because in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, it matters not who I declare as my favorite, or even you guys, right? It doesn't matter because everybody likes what they like. Everybody hears things differently. We all have our opinions on things. I love both of these albums pretty equally. I will say probably the one I have listened to more in my life, okay, and maybe even today I probably listen to a little bit more, is this one, okay? So, but I love this, like I said, equally. So I don't know. I may just shoot for a draw here, but you know what? If we're gonna squeak by 1 point based on just which one has been at home with me more and longer, probably, I don't know about longer because these both came out right about a year apart. I got them both right around the same time. But I think that over my life, since these were first introduced into my life, I probably listened to this one a little bit more. But that could change any day, right? There are some days I may be like, no way, Kansas is better. And I love both bands, like, equally. And it's funny, as much as I've loved both of these bands, I think as I've gotten older, I have grown more fond of these bands. So now, if you were to talk to me like maybe 30 years ago, I might have said, oh yeah, I like Kansas Styx quite a bit. But if I were to give you my top 20 bands like in the 80s, neither one of these would appear. Now, and in fact, I'm working on it now because I know a couple of you asked me to do a show on my top 20 or 25 bands. They're firmly entrenched there. And these albums are just very, very special to me. So, it really doesn't matter. It's either a draw or Styx slightly ahead. I can't pick, guys. This is really tough for me. I really can't pick. So it doesn't really matter. So let me know which ones you like a little bit better and why. Some of your favorite tunes, all that kind of stuff. Remember, nobody's wrong here. Okay, both fantastic albums. Some of you may feel this one is more of an accomplished album. Some of you, hardcore proggers might feel this is more of a prog album. And that's great. And then some of you kind of hard rock people might be like, yeah, but you know what? The Styx album is a little bit better than that. These bands did both, so it's like you're gonna, a lot of people are gonna go a lot of different ways, and that's fun. So anyway, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on the mighty YouTube. In answer to a couple of you who have asked over the last couple shows, when am I going to do something on Government Mule? I wore my Warren Haynes shirt for you today. I am planning a Government Mule top 10 songs, so that is in the works. I don't know how quickly I can get to it, but hopefully sometime over the next couple weeks. So fear not, Government Mule is going to get some love here. So tune in tomorrow. All right, we got a good one tomorrow. Jeff Young, ex-Megadeth lead guitarist and fantastic solo artist and guitar player and songwriter, Jeff Young, is going to be guesting on Classic Album War tomorrow. All right, should I give it away? Jeff, should I give it away? I'm going to give it away. Tomorrow, we've got the first self-titled Montrose album versus the first self-titled Boston album. You don't want to miss it, okay? Jeff and I love both albums a lot, and it should make for some interesting conversations. So Jeff will be on this show tomorrow, and we'll see you then, guys. www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Here on YouTube all the time. Go to our Facebook page and vote on these two killer albums right now. Cast your vote. Currently, it's pretty close. Okay, Leftoverture is slightly ahead, okay, by 20, 30 votes, but it's early, so we'll see what happens there. All right, with these polls have been hotly contested lately, so we'll see how it goes. So we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.